the first of many to come, right? Like we can also get started. We can keep talking in general about stuff. Uh, it's it's still going to be something that sorry, இதுங்களா? Yeah, yeah.
Everybody hear me? Hi, can everybody hear me? See me okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess
Great, great.
இது ஆஃப் பண்ணுறது இதுலேருந்து தான் சவுண்ட் வரும்.
So we'll just give it a couple minutes more to see if we have a few people on board, and then we can take this off.
and okay. Okay, we'll just wait for a second.
Yeah.
தினேஷ் கர்சர் வந்துட்டு போகுது, அது மட்டும் தான் பிரச்சனை. ஃபுல் ஸ்க்ரீன் போயிட்டு அவங்க கால் ஆரம்பிச்சோடனே அப்படியே கண்டினியூஸ் ஆகும். சரியா? பர்ஃபெக்ட்.
ப்ரெசன்டேஷன் எப்படி இருக்கு? ஸ்க்ரீன் எப்படியா இருக்குமா? நம்ம ஃபில் பண்ணி ஃபுல் ஸ்க்ரீன் இருக்கோம். இதை மட்டும் சரி இப்படி இருக்கு.
Okay, I think we can start now. Let's make this a presentation, guys. So welcome everybody to the first ever community conversation of Whale Street. It's been a little over a month since we launched, and right from the get-go, it's been an inspiring and very encouraging journey. Quite a contrast from some of our experiences in the past. There's been a lot of community interest in Whale Street right from the really excited launch that we had. A community membership that went from 0 to 500 in a matter of 3 or 4 days. And that interest has been sustained in the conversations across our community channels, for which we're really grateful for. So let's dive right in. We're going to keep this call short and to the point. And this call is being recorded. In fact, the whole conversation and presentation, which we hope to share with the rest of the community who haven't been able to make it to the call because of conflicting time zones. So diving right in. So we intend to structure this in 2 parts. Part 1 is going to be an update of what's happened with Whale Street so far, and part 2 is a look ahead, where we're headed next. So, call rules. Now, as you know, this is only a broadcast, so it's not an active conversation yet. We're trying to figure out some of the logistics and we're still trying to figure out operationally how we can make this possible in future calls. The idea is to let more people in, let more community members in with each call iteratively. So in this call, you're free to submit your questions, comments on Telegram, on our Discord channel, or you can tweet at us on Whale Street Official. While you do, please be polite. Put your questions in chat, And please do remember, we do not discuss listing or prices. It's a standard. Intros, very quick intros. You all know Vignesh. He's the founder and chief architect of the Lendroid protocol that powers Whale Street and also the brains behind how Whale Street itself has been structured. V is our tech lead. He waltzes with smart contracts day in and day out, and when he doesn't, he actually waltzes. He's an incredible dancer. And I'm Anand. You know me from our long and very verbose conversations on Telegram. I handle communication, and I love to hang out with the community. That's practically what I do. Moving on. I'd like to hand over the stage to Vignesh. Quickly walk us through what Whale Street is, what it is meant to be. Now, this is an overview. Please do understand that it might not be enough time, or this particular format might not be the most conducive to understanding all of the nuances of Whale Street. That I hope will happen over a series of conversations, both on our social channels as well as conversations like these. So, with that in mind, Vignesh, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Anand. Yeah, so let's get started with a small overview of what Whale Street is. So, in the industry right now of DeFi, we see that there is a requirement of, say, something where there can be whale swaps, which means that huge mega swaps. And usually, because of the way AMMs or automated market makers work right now, there's a huge slippage. And if you look at the fee that goes behind this, it could be less, which is like a standard 0.3%, but the slippage usually is the one that eats the bulk of the user's money. So what we were thinking is, why not conduct something like a huge swap where people can assemble with their liquidity at a specific time in the future and decide on what tokens they want to swap, and the opposing parties that want with one token assemble on one side, and the other party with the other token assembles on the other side, and then we do a swap exactly at the planned moment in time. That's pre-announced.
And with that, what happens is we can cut down the liquidity of the whole, the slippage of the whole swap process, and that would mean it's a more efficient and efficient way to do these swaps in a decentralized fashion. So that's the whole idea of whale swaps, and what we did was we did not just construct the idea of the swaps itself, but we did a whole infrastructure, a whole thought about how this could be decentralized, and that's what Whale Street is. If you could go to the next slide. So we are constructing an anti-fragile system. That's been part of our ethos since the day one, and we've tried like anti-fragile, meaning that we make sure the code is high quality. We always audit our codes, but that's not where it just stops. But the protocol itself, it has to handle black swan events, and that's one of our indicators of whether we are okay with something. And whatever we do right now, that's something which can handle a black swan event, for example. And we've beautifully worked out how large swaps can happen without killing the price peg or something, because we've just imagined it in the reverse order. Next slide. So, how does this specific whale swap work? What we have been thinking about whale swap or whale street in general is, okay, we have this awesome idea of doing massive token swaps, but who chooses these token pairs, right? If you look at the other projects, and usually in DeFi, governance is done through coin voting, and when you look at coin voting, either the decision making is inefficient, it takes a lot of time, and it also means that there needs to be kind of a majority agreeing on everything. So most of the times there is this time gap between something available in the market and it being integrated into a new DeFi protocol. So and also like governance has always been a huge conversation internally for us also, and with many teams in the industry, and we ended up thinking about NFTs or non-fungible tokens as we've seen in the market. Using those NFTs or specific NFTs, we call them DeFi keys or DeFi collectibles. All these DeFi collectibles, what we are planning to do with them is to use them as part of our governance system. So how will it work? There's going to be an autonomous auction that's going to happen on the protocol, and when you provide liquidity for LSTETH, you're going to earn shrimp. And these shrimp tokens have one specific utility, that is, it allows you to participate in this autonomous auction. In these auctions, you can decide to it's not a price bidding auction, but a descending price auction. So where the price of NFT starts from a specific number and just keeps going down. And at any time, if you want to just pick up the NFT, you can just say at what time. And that's the amount of shrimp you're going to pay, and you'd be the only person in those 8 hours. So every 8 hours, there's going to be only one NFT that's being generated, and these NFTs are going to be interesting, and we are going to talk a lot more about them. They're not they do allow you both a beautiful visual, a collectible component to it, but they also allow you a functionality in the protocol. So that's the two-sided aspect of how we are bringing in NFTs, and we are so excited about it because we've been working with artists, we've been working with various stakeholders in the industry, and this is going to be something that's we believe that it's going to also attract a lot of people who are not yet in DeFi. Maybe they're just in the NFT space. They could come over. So we feel like there's going to be a crossover here. So that's going to be awesome. So yeah, that's so what is shrimp? Shrimp itself, when we decided to do Whale Street, we thought, okay, let's start with a yield farming token that's fully community owned. So if you take shrimp itself, there is nothing that the team ever got by just like a pre-mine. So none of the team members got anything by pre-mine, and we did not also participate during in the 1% that was awarded to the community. That was before the yield farming started, or we did not participate for the first 10 days to make sure that it can remain. We can remain more fair to the community and let people who are providing liquidity get their hands on shrimp. Now, once you have these shrimp, what's going to happen is in a couple of months, that's what V is going to talk about next. But you'll be able to participate in these auctions, and you're going to buy some of those kick-ass NFTs. And with those NFTs, that's going to be functionality, and you can also make them a collectible. So this is going to be very interesting, and yeah, I'm so excited for that.
I think this is entirely V's arena.
Yeah, over to V. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Hey guys, this is V, the tech lead at Lendroid, and in the next few slides, I'll be walking you guys through the updates on the shrimp farming, the distribution mechanism so far, a quick overview of how we've architected the smart contracts for the shrimp farming, and also a brief overview of the audit process that went into securing the smart contracts, followed by the UI updates based on community feedback so far. So we launched Whale Street on the 6th of December at 8 a.m. GMT, and so the shrimp farming is pretty simple, right? Users are encouraged to stake their Uniswap pool tokens, which they get by submitting both the LST and the ETH to the Uniswap pool, and in turn they get shrimp rewards. And the shrimp rewards are basically distributed over 6 different series. The first series had started on the 6th of December. And we also wanted to reward the liquidity providers who had been staking and participating in the LSTS Uniswap pool since its inception, which was from August 24th onward until 6th of December. And we decided to reward them 1% of the total targeted supply of shrimp. So the 1% is the 2.4 million shrimp that was distributed to the early liquidity providers. And it was basically calculated based on every second their pool tokens were in their hands. So every second they had deposited their LST and ETH and held the Uniswap pool tokens. That particular duration was taken into account, and that's how we calculated the distribution for them. So on December 6th, the first epoch of the Lendrite protocol started, and this is quite a significant moment and historic moment for us, because going forward, everything that's going to be built and released by the Lendrite protocol is going to be adhering to the epoch periods. So it is going to be a continuous clock that's going to tick and a heartbeat that's going to beat into eternity. So currently we are in epoch number 71, and our reward series, we're still in the first series, and that particular series ends in 5 days, which means that's after epoch number 84. So from the 85th epoch onward, the second series will start. And the distribution pattern for that will be different from the current distribution. So far, for the first series, we have allocated about 12 million of the shrimp as rewards. And combining that with the 2.4 million that have been distributed to early liquidity providers, the current shrimp supply is 14.4 million. And when we get to the pool liquidity, the early providers from August 24th until December 6th had contributed about 35K of pool tokens into the smart contracts for the rewards. After launch, from the community, about 40K had been staked, and from the team side, about 100K. So that equates to totally about 175K right now of Uniswap pool tokens that are staked in the smart contracts. So far, from the stake, users have been able to withdraw 2.5 million worth of shrimp rewards, and there are still some more. I'm pretty sure if you check your balance, there's still plenty of shrimp to be withdrawn from your balance, because for this series we have allocated about 12 million. So on the right hand side, you see a rough overview of our 1% shrimp distribution. For further information, you can check out our Telegram announcements and also the Discord announcements. Can you please move on to the next slide? Okay, so just a quick overview of how the smart contracts have been architected. Apart from this being a standard yield farming architecture, we do have our heartbeat smart contract, which we call the pacemaker. And then we have the core smart contract that handles the staking, the claim, and the reward distribution logic. And then, depending on which pool we support, we can just modularly add as many pools as we want. Currently, we support just the shrimp pool. So that's the third contract. That's the one the user interacts with, stakes, unstakes from, and claims rewards from. And a very quick overview of the staking algorithm is it's pretty straightforward in the fact that you stake your pool tokens, you expect rewards, and the rate of rewards that you get per second basically depend on how early you have staked your pool tokens and how much of a pool percentage that you have a share in. So if you had staked earlier, you are naturally expected to get more percentage of the pool share, and as more people stake into the contract, your percentage decreases unless you top it up with more stake. But once your percentage decreases, your rewards are still calculated all the way from the time when it was higher to the time when it was lower. So that's basically the staking algorithm. And the entire system updates the rewards that a user should get when they stake their pool tokens every time an operation is performed. It could either be a stake operation or an unstake or a claim operation. And the reward per second for every user within that series is recalculated whenever that operation happens. So because the contracts are designed to endogenously handle reward distribution, as the epochs continue over to the next series, it becomes important to update the system just exactly when one series is going to end. We could have done that with a smart contract, but it would have been cumbersome to populate the smart contract with that logic, in that it would have increased the code size and in turn incurred more gas costs for the end user. So the team has decided to do this via the UI. So every series, just before it ends, the team will make an effort to update the rewards per second per user for that series. Could you please move over to the next slide? So a quick overview of the audit process. A big shout out to our friends at QuantStamp. They helped not only provide valuable feedback on how to architect the smart contracts, but also their valuable inputs helped us improve the staking algorithm. As usual, whenever we have our contracts audited, you can bet your beep that it's 100% branch coverage. And we also included a link to the audit report. So the audit basically found out and reported 9 issues, 8 of which were resolved, and the one unresolved issue was acknowledged. And that's basically the issue which I was talking about in the previous slide, where the team will manually update the system's reward per second via the UI itself. So the UI constantly will be updated, will be upgraded, and will be improved upon based on feedback from our community, from our users. We've already obtained some really valuable feedback. Big shout out to Jan Han. Your inputs have been extremely valuable. Thanks so much. We've also been notified of some bugs. We're fixing that. And so far we had been supporting only MetaMask. We plan to roll out multi-wallet capability over this week.
Thank you, V. It's a very strong update. I'm sure the community will appreciate and have a whole bunch of questions about as well. So, moving on. Okay, a very quick shout out, since we consider this the end of one season as well as nearing the end of one of the first series of shrimp farming also. I thought it would be an appropriate time to present some shout outs to the community, specifically Infinity UK, who's been very vocal in his support for Whale Street and what we do, as well as in really constructive suggestions about where we should take the protocol. The first 43 who provided liquidity to the LSD ETH pool even before farming had started. So we really appreciate your faith in the protocol, and we hope you're happy with the 1% shrimp that you got. Janman, again, like Infinity UK, has been a very vocal supporter. But he never held back his criticisms of the project either. So we've had some interesting conversations with him on the platforms. The good folk from Grow Your Base, who walked in droves when we launched Whale Street way back in November 19 at an event, at a virtual event at the WIP meetup. And Index Co-op, a shout out to you. We happily picked up this, took a leaf out of your book and picked up this sort of a format for the community call. So thank you for that. And now we move on to part 2, where we discuss some look aheads. So this is what Whale Street is today. a few blurry items in the horizon with respect to NFT auctions and so forth. So if you want a more thorough detail into where we are headed, let's see if we can get there in this next section. Again, I pass on the baton to Vignesh. If you can walk us through this part, please.
Sure. So with the protocol itself, there is the yield farming angle to this, and with the series one coming to an end, Jan 3rd will be the beginning of the series two, and the number of shrimps that are being awarded, the rate of the shrimps that are being awarded now is going to be much higher. So it's going to go down in the next series, and in the subsequent series is usually go down and plateau at a specific point. So Jan 3rd is going to be a important switch on the yield farming side. And in terms of the collectible, the DeFi collectible itself, there is some great lineup of ideas and things that are into the protocol. That's so exciting, and that's giving us so much energy right now. So if you look at the whole space, NFT space, one of the things that's just getting started is the generative art NFTs, where there's an algorithm. It's all done on chain, but when you try to mint an NFT, each NFT is unique, but it's all done by the same algorithm. And it's all that algorithm is designed by a specific artist. So there could be hundreds of these NFTs, but all come from the same algorithm, and they can be reproduced without any issues each time you use the same hash. So that's something very exciting to us, and that's something we want to bring in to the DeFi collectible catalog. So what we are trying to do here is that work with some of these artists who are good at generative art, onboard them, and attach them on top of the NFTs we are designing. So NFTs that are going to be DeFi collectibles that are going to have a specific functionality in this protocol. They are also going to have a beautiful visual element, and that's going to be generated by a very interesting artist. So for the lineups of these artists and how these NFTs are going to look like, we are still working on those aspects, but that's going to be our next month. So Jan is going to be very interesting for us, and we're going to slowly start revealing who these artists are to the community, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of excitement. The other angle to this artist or working with these artists and NFTs is that it also gives us a visibility which does not just come by putting out the protocol, right? So when we put out this NFTs, people are going to ask, okay, where did these NFTs come from? And like if they look interesting, people would want to just collect them for like having a collectible sake, right? But then that's how we can get them into the rabbit hole and show them what all the protocol is capable of. So that's the idea we are going for here. And by Feb 28th, once these artists are onboarded and these protocols are ready to go, Feb 28th, it's going to be a very important date where we are going to enable auctions. So with all the shrimp you're mining right now, there's going to be starting Feb 28th when you could buy up these NFTs. And I'm very excited to see how that dynamic plays out, because it's going to be just one NFT every 8 hours. And slowly after after each 8 hours is going to have one NFT, and we will not reveal what that NFT is going to be. So it's going to be a surprise. That's part of the game here, and so it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be some value in collecting the first 100 NFTs, or even the first one, right? Like the first one that came out of Whale Street. So NFTs do have are going to have these kind of novelty collectible value also. So I believe the people in the community should also look into understanding why they should be very interested in looking at whether they want to pick up the NFTs in the auction. So that's going to start happening on Feb 28th. So we have almost 2 months for that. So we're going to do the artist onboarding in Jan. We're going to reveal who the artists are, and we're going to take some time to get the auction module audited, etc. And then by the end of Feb, you're going to have your first NFT auction. So yeah, we are excited for that. And once those NFTs go live, we're going to have another couple of months where people, actually just another month, because it'll be March, where there'll be multiple NFT auctions going on. So there'll be 8 hours, one auction. So say 30 days, there's going to be around 90 auctions going on. And after these 90 auctions, that means that 90 NFTs would be out in the market. And we then do our first whale swap by April 1st. So that's the idea, where we are going to allow the community to use their NFTs that they purchase in the auction to enable something within the protocol. So that's going to be a huge step in terms of governance also, where the community itself, just by holding this NFT, anyone from the community for just holding this NFT gets to have or enable a certain functionality within the protocol, and that's first of its kind in terms of governance research. So this is going to be exciting time, and that's something I'm looking forward to. So those are the timelines and important events that you should be looking forward to, just like me. And for the next slide. So here, what are we doing immediately is that we are, as I was talking about the generative art piece, what we should understand here is attention is hard. DeFi is getting harder in the sense that there are hundreds of projects and floating around. What we have done over years is collect very good skill in terms of smart contracts, and in terms of having a inroad into the network of DeFi, and so one of the things we want to do here is to make sure that we can gain some attention from the mainstream, or even from the crypto mainstream, right? So it could be DeFi, NFTs. We want eyes on us, and how we are doing it using generative art. And right now we are scouting for artists who really enjoy this. We already have a few people we are talking to, but we would also want, if you have anyone in mind who understands NFT and already does generative art, preferably because we're working on a tight timeline, it'll be cool to have someone who we want to work with, and on this piece. So that's one thing. We are also thinking about how these NFTs, when they're sold through the auction, can also compensate the artist for their effort. So we are thinking about sending a 5% royalty of the shrimps that's being used to purchase the NFT directly to the artist. So that's going to be interesting too, where if you think about the artist, he's going to make some amount of shrimp every time someone buys an NFT from the protocol, and that's very interesting for the artist. So that's one thing. And yeah, so this NFTs are now becoming a true collectible, because it has a time value, and this generative art will we are also planning to add these randomness, the functionality of, or the visual represents something that comes from the smart contract, like the randomness we use, the time of the auction, the sale price, etc. So there'll be something that represents the history of this NFT, and that's going to be interesting. So these are the aspects of this, right?
Great. Thanks so much, Vignesh. Now, on to the marketing plan. I know this has been the bonnet for a lot of people in the community. Why not marketing more? So here I reveal to you the marketing plan for the next couple of months, and also solicit your suggestions in what you think we ought to do to make this more effective and more powerful in the weeks to come. Now, I've split the marketing basically into two aspects. One, obviously, is the content engine, which is supposed to feed the rest of the distribution channels. So we will have blogs that describe the modules of Whale Street and how they work and so on and so forth. A weekly newsletter, which you already are aware of, and hopefully a weekly how-to video, which V is really good at, and along with Praveka, who also works in design and in the visual department for Whale Street, can put together. The frequency is still up for grabs. We're still trying to calibrate the frequency of the content, but basically these are the content blocks that we will use. Distribution. We've struck a deal with Metacast, which is predominantly in the NFT space, but growing. It is a sort of a collective, if you will, of 5 or 6 content creators in the NFT space, including Andrew Steinwall, who runs the Zima Red podcast, Matthew, who's erstwhile Sent, and who also has the Matthew and Rizzle show. He runs that podcast as well. And he's also the founder of the WIP Weekly Meetup, which is the largest metaverse event. Every week, 400 to 500 participants gather around to listen to updates in about DeFi across crypto, in fact. And they've had varied guests on the show, including Lendroid, obviously. We've been seasoned sponsors of the WIP Meetup, as you know from the launch. But they've also featured Maker, MetaMask, you name it, whether they're in the DeFi space or mainstream crypto or the NFT space. They have been on the WIP Meetup. So Metacast contains all of these players, and Whale Street and Whale Street's modules and Shrimp will be advertised through all of those distribution channels. And we also have the community channels that you're all aware, and I'd love for you to be a little more active in, but we've got Discord, we've got Telegram, and Twitter, which needs a little bit of a perk up. Working on it, we'll get that done as well. So feel free to shoot us your suggestions and feedback on these very specific issues we really want to know. The first is, how helpful have the instructions and communications been in your usage of the protocol itself? Have they been sufficient? Have they been helpful? How would you like us to improve the design and the UX? Now, we had loads of fun in putting together this particular aesthetic for Whale Street, sort of a grungy, slightly a dash of neon here, something dark, but a mix of all of that stuff. We basically went a little crazy, as you do in DeFi, but how do you like the UI and UX? Does it clash with your utility, or does it go hand in hand with it? Let us know. The tech soundness, I don't need to say, 100% brand coverage, very smooth, it works, but we'd like to hear it from you as well. Again, the information and communication. Again, your feedback on how often you'd like us to communicate and what exactly you'd like us to know, apart from what we've already been feeding you, and accessibility. Now, to use the Whale Street protocol, you do need a set of tools, software, hardware, and also access